Good afternoon, Tour Badminton. This afternoon, I'm joined by the one and only. I have to say, it's been a long time coming, this one. I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I'm very busy. I've got a lot of work on. I've got so many projects on. I just don't have time. Months in the making. And tonight, this afternoon, it's Saturday afternoon at 4:20, and I'm finally joined by Jim Torrance. Hello.
Hi,
How are you
Martin.
doing?
Got here eventually.
We got here eventually. It took a
Yeah,
lot of nerve, doesn't it? Is it? It's surprisingly easy, you know.
yeah. I'm guessing
It
that.
definitely
But
is. Everybody, everybody's the same. Everybody thinks, oh, I'm really boring. I really don't have a lot to say. And then everybody, the ones like this are the ones that people think, oh my God, that's amazing. I had no idea. I mean, I can't remember who I interviewed somebody and they're like, and their son, in fact, I interviewed Colin Campbell, and Martin Campbell messaged me saying, I learned things I didn't know about my own dad. You know, it's absolutely amazing. I think
that's maybe part of my worries.
is
Yeah,
it? Is it really?
yeah.
Well,
Some stories I can't tell.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I've got Alistair Casey on later, and that's why I've got questions. So give it a structure. I've got Alistair Casey later, and he sent me a video. He was interviewed by another chap, I don't know if you know, called Jeffrey Tho. Do you know that name?
No,
He
no.
is Jeffrey Tho is the head of Australian badminton, and he's on. He's meant to be coming on. I think it's next week. He's quite a busy guy. He's a dentist. He's also got his own channel in Australia with a guy called Henry, and yeah, he's a coach and he's a dentist, and he's heavily involved with he's played internationally. He's played in the All England. He's been Google him or have a look on Facebook at him. Jeffrey Tho. He's in Australia, but like I say, like most dentists, I suppose he's anyway. So what I was going to say was he interviewed Alistair Casey. And this last night when I was talking to Alistair Casey, he says, have a listen to this. I only swore 3 times. I thought that's brilliant. That's what I've seen. Don't worry, man. I
Yeah.
only swore 3 times on this. And he sent me the picture. I don't know if you saw the picture.
Yeah.
He's coaching. He lives in
Yeah.
LA. When we talk about living the dream, he says this was at 3 o'clock this morning. He's in LA, which is 8 hours ahead. So I suppose it was 3 in the morning. So I guess it was about 7 o'clock or something over there. And he was in the garden. It was 40 degrees. He was in somebody's garden giving a badminton coaching lesson to a film director in their garden, and he had a net set up and lines drawn out in this film director's garden in LA. How
Yeah.
the other half live?
Hard life.
40 degrees though.
Hard life.
40 degrees. I thought, oh my goodness.
A bit of a change when you think back to the days where we used to play against them in the North Lanarkshire leagues,
Really?
the mixed doubles league. Yeah,
And,
yeah. Back the
and now he's living the dream in LA.
He's a very fiery teenager
Was
at
he?
that point in time. Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Craig Robinson's told me some stories about him for sure. It was yeah. I think it's going to be good fun. I mean, I don't know. And he's like I say, he sent me a video of he sent me the interview, but I don't like to watch. And it's like I sent you the questions through, and you said, "Oh, I'll fill them in and send them back." And I went through a stage of sending them and saying, if you could fill it out, and I'll have a look through the answers, and we can talk about it, right? But I'm just not very good at that. I just prefer to not know somebody, completely not know somebody.
Yeah, I think that's the best way and just run through things.
So
Yeah.
the only thing is, it's not very professional. Like somebody comes on, and everybody keeps on coming on and dropping massive names and going like that, and I'm just like, big names in Scotland. Don't get me wrong, I'm learning. I'm learning.
Yeah.
I'm learning a lot. The network, and Andy Cook gave me the first lesson. I think I called Karen Stalker, Karen Hogg, in the interview, and he sent me a really harsh message. Martin, it was Karen Stevens. It's Karen Stalker, Julie Hogg, and I thought, I actually felt like I suddenly realised kind of what it would be like to be coached by him, because I see after he sent me that message, I really tried. I really kind of turned the corner and thought, no, Martin must do better. I was raging with,
Yeah,
Have you ever dealt with Andy?
Not really, no. I've spoken to Andy a couple of times and we're friends on Facebook,
Yeah.
but never kind of one-to-one coaching or anything like that.
Yeah, he's a lovely guy, and he just seems to demand.
Yeah.
He just seems to demand kind of respect. You just can't help but respect the guy for some. He's
For what? Yeah. Absolutely,
But
yeah.
it's amazing. I think it's fascinating. And I've talked a lot about coaches, and Martin Campbell talked about being coached by Kenny Middlemas and said, I really wanted to be coached by him because he was at the top of his game, and he was where I wanted to get to. Right, he had got to where I want to get to. So to be coached by
Yeah.
somebody like that is a kind of a natural thing. Oh
It's
my
a
God,
dream,
Kenny
yeah.
Middlemas.
Yeah,
You
we've
know,
matched a few times by Kenny, yeah.
yeah, but but then you've got Andy, who's just a coach, right? I mean, he's never had that, and it's quite unusual. It's quite unusual for somebody like Ingo Kinderwater. He's a German international, and he obviously
Yeah,
comes out as the Scotland coach, and everybody respects him because of his provenance, where he's come from, doesn't it?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And not every top player will be a good coach,
yes, that's great.
but some will. And you will get coaches that have not played at the very top level, but they're fantastic coaches
Yeah.
at the top level. So it's a strange thing. It's a bit like football. You see it in football as well sometimes. You don't always have to have played at that top level to understand and be able to coach people to bring out the best in them.
I think it's a lot to do with I'm fascinated by the peripheral of it. Somebody can be playing a match, playing a game on court, and playing the game and losing and all that kind of stuff, and then a coach will come on halfway through, and because they're watching in the periphery, they see the whole picture. They can see, when you're in a game, just like when you're playing a game, you're just kind of playing it, and you have your own observations of who's weak and where they're weak and where they're strong, and who to play on and who not to play on. But I think, when the coach is sitting by the side and kind of they come on and say, have you not noticed that they're really weak there, or have you tried? You haven't been playing the front left or whatever at all, and it's fascinating how they. Yeah, you're right. I mean, I watch. I don't know about you. I'm an excellent player in my imagination. I am. I'm exceptional.
We're all
I'm not just excellent.
yeah,
I'm exceptional.
yeah. Everybody's the same,
Yeah.
and it's when you watch, say, you've been watching a tournament like the All Englands, and then the first time you're back at court, in your mind you're thinking, "Oh, this is what I want to do. I want to look like those
It's
guys."
true.
Yeah,
Have you been to the
yeah.
All England to watch? Have you been down?
Never
Haven't
been,
you?
and this year, no, no. It tended to be, for some reason, the Scottish Schools tournament
Really?
is on at the same time as the All England, and between sort of mainly Ben, I have to say, he was always playing the Scottish
Schools.
Schools, so the two of them never sat together.
Yeah.
So, and then there was a few years where, for whatever reason, because of work or whatever, I never went. But yeah, no, that's one I definitely want
And
to
is
go
that
to.
are you going to do that? Is that a plan? Is it? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a must.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did it. I've done it twice. I've done it twice now. The first was what they call a scumbags invite. One of them where, in fact, I tell you, it was a guy. Zibby is a guy in Edinburgh who ended up qualifying to be a line judge, but he bought a ticket for the All England. And he's a good friend of mine. He's in Poland now. He's lived in Edinburgh for a while, but he's back in Poland now. And back in Poland. I don't think he's from Poland anyway. But he learned to be a line judge, and the ticket he bought basically applied to be a line judge after having bought a ticket. And then he got to be a line judge, and then says, "I don't need a ticket," and I bought it off him. And I went down, but I was, I think a few friends go down. Alan Evans, I don't know if you know him, and quite a few friends from Edinburgh go down. Yeah, they go down every year. State juries, and the thing to do is when he goes to go to juries in, because that's where all of the teams stay.
okay.
As a matter of fact, I didn't stay. I couldn't get in the juries because that's where all the teams were playing. I couldn't actually get into juries for that reason. And Alan said, just 10 minutes text saying, "Come up and just have breakfast." And you walk into reception, pay 10 quid and have breakfast. And they're all there. Like every single international player, the finalists, the whole thing, are the coaches. That you're just sitting there, and they're like, it's quite. It's quite it's like, oh my God. And the staff are walking about, they haven't got a clue who they are. Do you know who that is? It's like, Victor Axelson sitting there eating his breakfast, and the staff's there, who's that guy? You know what it's like, and who's the other one?
Yeah. Oh,
Oh, there's so many, but
brilliant.
that's the thing to do. But if you're gonna go, the first thing you should do is book juries. You'll never get single room, I have to say. So you need to go in a pair. Okay. Anyway, let's go on with some questions. So, your
Okay.
full name?
James Graham Torrance. It's Graham.
Where does the Graham come from? Standard question.
It was a kind of joint thing between a former Scottish legend and also a cousin of mine who was also called Graham.
Really? Scott? Did you say Scottish?
Well,
Did you say Scottish
that's
legend?
yes,
Who was
yes.
it?
I think it was John Graham of Claverhouse,
Really?
something like that.
Wow.
I wasn't expecting that question. I have to say, Martin. I might have done some
A
digging
bit
in
of
the
research.
background.
Well, at least
I love
the key
history,
thing
so
is,
yeah.
Jim, is that you've got to go and find out now. That's the answer. You've got to go and find. You've got to go and investigate and say, to be honest with you, I need to go to ask somebody. I have no idea what I've called that. And your age?
62.
62, nice. And where is your home area? Where are you from? Where did you first play badminton, I suppose, is the thing.
So first played badminton in a little village in Ayrshire called Drongan.
Right, never heard of it, right?
Erongan.
Say that again?
It's just outside Ayr.
How do you
About
spell it again?
Drongan.
Strongan.
Drongan,
Well,
yeah.
never.
Now the locals would call it Drungan, the Scottish Ayrshire dialect, but they thought we were posh because we called it
So
Drongan.
you're not far from Ayr itself, are you?
No, it was like 20 minutes.
Right.
20 minutes or so.
So do you know, like Steve Thompson, did you play with him? Because he's that area, is he?
Yeah, I know Steve very well, yeah.
And what about, how far are you from the Mauchline lot?
Not far. Yeah, about 20 minutes.
We're involved in badminton up with Mauchline, because I keep on hearing about this Tommy guy.
Yeah, Tommy Mulgrew. Not so much coaching wise, but from time to time we would maybe go over and play at the sports centre that was over there.
There was obviously a lot of, apparently there's been a lot of talent come out, right?
Oh yeah, very much so. Yeah. From there was a lot of good juniors as well that never quite followed into sort of senior badminton.
Yes.
And there's one or two. Callum McMillan, who's there's quite a few guys that sort of through.
I keep on. I'm quite interested in that when I hear, I interviewed Adam Hall, I interviewed Holly, and it's quite interesting when they and Alex Dunn. In fact, all of the juniors I've interviewed, they've said.
Alex is more Motherwell.
It's all right. Yeah. No, quite a lot of them have said, yeah, that's right. No, but they've all said, what I was going to say is they've all said they had somebody that they used to play with, and he was amazing. The guy was amazing. Does he play anymore? No. It's incredible, isn't it? The guy was amazing. He was, the most talented player. I really wanted to try and beat him. I couldn't beat him. And these are people that have played in the national level, and the guy gave up.
Yeah. It's one of those things. I think having talent alone is not enough. You need to have the sort of drive. It probably helps if you've got parents that are supportive and have got a kind of understanding of it as well. So I think there's a combination of things that enables people like Adam, for instance, to get to where he is.
Yeah, for sure. You've got to have a lot of parental involvement.
He also had on the drive to keep training, keep getting better. And he had parents that supported him in, financially and all that sort of stuff, because that's all part and parcel of, allowing people in a nation that's got relatively limited resources, I think, is to allow them to progress to that sort of top level,
I completely agree, and it's a real shame that it comes to that, and I think that, credit to you, because I think it's a brave person that says, yeah, you can, if you want to do that, you can do that, and I think there'll be a lot of people that will just say, Okay, you like badminton, all right. You like badminton, okay. You can play badminton on Friday night, Monday night, Tuesday night, but you just get a job, and then you can, But for somebody to say,
Exactly.
"I'm going to do this,"
We're good. Yeah, I'm not going to drive from, say, Prestwick to Glasgow 2 nights a week and on a Saturday to be part of the national junior squad.
yeah, that's right.
And some kids are not willing to do it in the first place. There might be other kids that might have been willing to do it, but their parents haven't been. So it takes a bit of a kind of special bunch of conditions to allow players, certainly in Scotland, to get to that sort of level.
There's a young guy, Callum Smith. Do you know that name?
Yeah.
He's in Greenlaw, and that's, by the way, is in the middle of beyond. That's
Right.
Greenlaw is I think it's about 7 miles from Duns, and Duns is bad enough, but Greenlaw is really, so for the guy to come through to Glasgow for coaching and all that stuff, and the parents and all that stuff, the dedication is just, it's incredible. I think.
Yeah.
I guess I have regrets. I think I could have been okay, and it was the only thing I loved when I was growing up at 16, 17, 18. It was the only thing I actually loved. I thought, I ended up leaving school. I ended up in bar work, and I've kind of sailed through. But I think, if I'd had the dedication, I guess I was quite a rural place as well. I lived in Belford, Northumberland, if you know where that is, about 15 miles south of Berwick upon Tweed. And I played in Berwick, and was coached in Newcastle, and played very often. Very often, it was really popular. How big was it? I mean, Belford's a tiny village, but is Trongan the same? Very small.
Fairly small, yeah. I mean, it was a reasonable size. It was actually predominantly so original, very old village, but then was expanded greatly to accommodate the large coal mine that was built a few miles away, and that's how it was sort of made much bigger.
So kind of a working village, if you like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe 2,000 people or something.
Wow. And brothers and sisters, Jim?
Yeah, well, got a brother that's class, but he never ever played badminton. But my younger brother and two younger sisters, they played maybe, I don't know, maybe four years or something, but never seriously. They played at the youth club, played at the badminton club for a number of years, but then kind of just fell away and did the usual
into something
sort
different.
of 16-year-old, 18-year-old thing, yeah.
And was it quite in the village? Was it what was it like? We'll come on to it. Obviously, was there clubs, or what was it? Was it quite popular in the village?
Yeah, and initially it was actually the badminton club. Sorry, the youth club.
Yeah, was it?
There was 2 courts in the school hall,
cool.
And also a small court in the gymnasium. And that's where I discovered it. Basically, I was going to the youth club, and I walked into the main hall, and I thought, "Oh, that looks like fun." And I was about 14 at that point in time. So I was relatively late coming into the sport compared to probably a whole bunch of people. Yeah.
But it's probably quite good. There's a lot of people I've spoke to that started very, very young and muddled their way through till they're 13 and 14, and probably picked up a lot of bad habits, and then start getting coaching literally 6 years after having started playing.
Yeah. To an extent, that's probably too late. Because the bad habits will have set in.
Yeah.
Grips, movements, and all that sort of stuff.
So did you go straight into coaching? How long did you play in a very social level like that with the club?
Probably 2 years. The badminton club started up about. So I think I started the youth club probably about 1972.
Yeah.
So I was 14 or thereabouts, and it started to become more and more popular. There was a chap, Wally Stewart, who was a coach and a former player back in the day. He'd started attending the local primary school, and he then set up the club.
Sorry, what do you mean? What do you mean attending? What do you mean he started attending? What do you mean?
During probably he did some coaching.
Oh, did he at the schools?
Yeah, so he would go to the school and take the kids for badminton lessons. Sort of over lunch times and stuff like that, and it seemed that he realised he was also friendly with the sort of top guy that ran the youth club. Youth club was pretty big. There must have been, I don't know, maybe 60, 80 people would attend the youth club.
Oh.
And there might have been at least 30 people maybe playing badminton, all having to wait your turn to get on the court. And I think he realised at that point in time, I could probably start up a decent-sized club here.
Oh.
So he then set up Drongan Badminton Club out that same hall.
So he was coming in. He was coming in at lunchtimes and taking and kind of teaching as part of PE. Was it kind of thing?
I don't know if it was part of PE or just an extra thing for the kids to do.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Did that back, yeah.
And was it like straight after school kind of thing or what?
Yeah, I think he did all that. He did all that sort of stuff, yeah.
So we're really missing now, don't you think? I don't think that doesn't happen anymore. I've talked a lot about that. There's no, teachers. It's a real shame, I think.
Yeah, teachers are so busy now with other things they need to do with normal hours.
Yeah.
And to be honest, one of the guys that helped me while I was still at youth club was actually a teacher in the school, and I still remembered his name. And when I finally agreed to doing this, I was kind of the questions, and I'm thinking, what was that guy's name? and it just came to my mind, quick as a flash. And he was probably he wasn't a qualified coach or by any means, but he had an idea about it, and he would spend a bit of extra time with me, separately from the other people who were playing at the youth club.
And what was his name? Sorry, Jim.
Jim Capperold.
Capperold, did you say?
Capperold, yeah. I'm not quite sure how you spell it, but it's probably
good. Yeah, so he just that's awesome, isn't it?
But he was basically a teacher. I think he was a technical teacher, and he would just come and sort of help out. But Willie Stewart was my first proper coach, if you like.
Yeah. And what do you remember? Do you remember what he first taught you?
He was very, very, very focused on grips.
Was he good?
I think that the grip was right. The kind of handshake thing.
Yeah.
And then probably showed me movements. I always remember the Hartono skip. I was like, what's that?
Is that the scissor kick kind of?
Yeah. Yeah, well, you step back on your left foot and then you take a hop.
Jim, have you heard me talk? You must have heard me talk about this. Have you heard me talk about this?
I'm not sure.
I interviewed Duncan Grant, who's a young coach. He's 27, a coach.
Yeah.
And I learned what do you call it?
It's the Hartono skip.
So I learned that, and interestingly, nobody does it anymore. I don't know if you've noticed it. I don't know if you've watched it. Nobody does it anymore. It's an old school trick. But interestingly, I watched Victor Axelsen, and he posts videos of himself doing exercises and stuff, and he was going to the back left-hand side of the court, and he was doing it. And I thought, wow, that's the first time I've seen that in years. Everybody else runs around it. He was doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that was great. And I've not seen that for years. Duncan Grant just said, how would you get I said to him, so if you're standing at the tee, left foot forward, how do you get the back left-hand side of the court? He says, I'll probably just run around it. And he's a good player. I'll probably just run around it. And that's what they do now. And I did tell me if you remember this. Did you also remember, I don't know if it's just me, right? But I remember thinking this move when I was coached in Newcastle was particularly awkward. It was sort of standing at the tee to get to the back right-hand side corner of the court. You crossed your right foot over your left. Do you remember that?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm thinking, I was doing shadow badminton, I remember, so the hop skip to the backhand, and it's actually, I don't know if you've noticed, I don't know if you've tried it, but it isn't efficient. It isn't actually efficient. It knackers you out. When you do shadow badminton with that mechanism, it does tire you out more. It does.
Yeah.
But I do like it. So, I can't help it.
Proper stuff.
Yeah. I've never had a particularly strong forehand, so I've always done it. Backhand, sorry. So I've always been good at getting around the back of. I take everything on my forehand. I hardly use my backhand unless I'm really pushed. I'll hardly use my backhand. I will nearly always come around everything.
I was a bit similar when I was younger and faster.
Yeah.
everything was round the head.
Yeah.
Hardly played a backhand.
No, I still am. Do you still play? Obviously, you're a singles. You played singles, did you?
I did play a lot of singles, when I was younger, yeah, but obviously moved to doubles. So
When I played singles,
loved singles. Yeah.
when was the last time you played a game of singles?
Oh, not that long ago, actually, because of the recent restrictions.
Yes.
So obviously, just after that lockdown and when things opened back up again, you were only allowed to play singles.
That's correct.
So that was a bit of a shock to the system, especially when you're playing against guys like, I think I mentioned Callum McMillan, who was a former junior international, James Milton, former junior international. So we've got these guys at the club.
Yeah.
So we get guys not quite the same age as me, but
yes,
relatively similar standards. So that's okay. But then when you go on court with these guys, it's a different level.
Where'd you play, Jim? Where'd you play now?
We play a hall in Kilmarnock. Yeah. The Hunter Centre generally, but we've been using a local school, St Joseph's, because their halls are bigger and they've got more space at the back of the courts. We weren't. The issue at the Hunter Centre is because it's a 3-court hall, but at the back of the hall there's limited space. So it would mean that the people that weren't actually playing on court
benches
need to stand outside the hall.
Really, as bad as that?
Yeah. So we've been recently, up until the last lockdown, we were playing at St Joseph's, which is a big new, relatively new, sort of big school in Kilmarnock.
Wow, cool.
But like all new schools nowadays, the sports facilities are fantastic. Yeah. Big high halls, sprung timber floors, all that good stuff.
The only thing that's starting to annoy me about schools, all these modern schools they build, have got windows at the ceiling. They're trying to reduce electricity, so they put windows. That's the latest thing. All the schools around the borders have put, and got a lot in Edinburgh, they put windows in the ceiling. They've made this kind of artificial roof like this, and it kind of joins like this. And then what they've done is put a vertical window in the top, which is a nightmare, and they haven't put blinds in, and it's a nightmare for badminton.
Yeah.
Where I play, it's like a, I don't know if you've ever played this in Georgia School in Edinburgh. It's an old school, and it's just a breeze block building. So it's brilliant in the summer. It's freezing cold, and because it's just breeze block, right? And there's no windows at all, and so it's dark. And it's pretty good, actually. If you ever find yourself in Edinburgh, you need to come. When do you play? When do you play your club?
Say that again.
When do you play your club? What night is it?
Wednesdays and Fridays.
Do you? That's good. And do you play through the week? Do you play in the summer? Sorry.
We normally do, yeah. We don't tend to stop.
Do you?
Yeah.
There's a wee one.
2 seconds.
There's a wee one.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice.
This is Oscar.
Let me see. I can't see. There we go. Hello. Wow.
Yeah, so we've got Ben at 26, Kira at 21, and Oscar at 2.
Wow. Oh dear, my goodness. There's a brave one at 62, Jim.
Yeah, I know.
Nice. It's it brings you back, does it? How are you finding it? Are you enjoying it? Are you enjoying fatherhood again?
Oh, loving it, yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
I don't know if I could handle that. My boy's 19. I couldn't wait to get rid of him. He's just away at university now. Are you actually still at home, or where are they living?
With her mum.
Is that far? Where is that?
Yeah. Well, Lynn, she moved up to Ralston, just outside Paisley.
Right.
So again, she was impressed with it for a long time, but between work and obviously Kira now training full time, Ben's at uni doing a master's in physics.
Is he?
It just makes sense. Yeah. Oh, he's a bright boy.
What does he want to do? My boy's the same.
Well, he's going to be, hopefully he'll be professor, so he'll be a doctor, Dr. Torrance in the near future.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. Is that what he want? Does he want to teach? What does he want to do? Do you know?
Not quite sure whether he wants to teach or maybe move into the, experimentation side of things.
The actual use of it, yeah.
Yeah, he's working. The sort of main thing he's working on is to do with lasers and using lasers to do experiments on various things.
Yeah, really.
So Yeah, when I look at his notebooks, it looks as if it's an alien.
No, I was going to say, no, probably best not. I'm the same with
yeah.
my son's a computer science. He's 19 doing computer science in Edinburgh. And it's a different world, isn't it, nowadays? Let's get back to questions.
Yeah.
What age did you first play? 14, you said? Okay, I've got the answer to that. Why and where did you start playing? So that was a
14, yeah.
Do you think the reason why you started was youth club? Yeah, it's good, that, isn't it? Okay, there's a question. Do you remember? Welcome to bring him back in. Yeah, bring him back in. It's okay. He can come and say hello.
2 seconds.
That's okay. You didn't need to lock him out. You just send him out in the street.
A demanding chap.
Yeah,
so
quite
he's
right.
like,
Good,
you know,
yeah.
if he wants me to go, he wants me to go. So yeah,
fair enough, isn't it?
He's back on me again. So.
Let's see. Do you remember your first racket?
I think, looking back, I think it was a Graze with a timber head and a stainless steel shaft. I always remember that it came with the timber frame to keep the head straight and all that good stuff.
So it had a steel shaft but a wooden head, did you say? That's right.
Yes, yeah.
They always remind me of butterfly presses. Do you remember butterfly or flower presses? Do you remember them?
Yep.
I was growing up, they were a thing. It was like, I think I had one. I think I must have got one for Christmas and we'll try pressing whatever. It's weird, isn't it? The things you do when you're growing up.
Yeah.
Talk about distraction. What was the name of the first club of the youth? Was it just youth club? What was it called?
Rockin', yeah. Rockin', I'm still there, yeah.
And still there? And what's it like now? Do you know how many people go now?
Not so much. We back in the day when there was more people with free time, there was a lot of various levels and various, like ages and juniors and stuff. As we sort of progressed and got a bit better, we tend to try and keep the standards. So there was very little in the way of coaching other than, say, some of the better kind of junior players that would come to the club. We would try and talk to them and help them, but there was no specific time set aside to do routines or, all that kind of thing. So it was predominantly a kind of players club.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it?
So yeah, so the kind of numbers got less. I think there's probably talking maybe 24 players or something like that kind of play at the club. But depends. It varies on club night.
How do you feel about coaching now, Jim?
Honestly, if I had more spare time, I'd be more than willing to help.
Yeah.
It tends to be, and Craig Robertson, he mentioned there's been a number of players that have come through our club, obviously including Ben and Kira. There was Josh Neal, Grimley twins would come down and play with us back in the day. Really? Keir Pringle, Joshua Peliga, these guys have all come down to the club to try and improve them at a certain point in their career. So it's good in that way that it's competitive enough for people like that.
Yeah. Am I right in saying that doesn't really happen anymore? These people, Kira and Ben, they're getting so much coaching and training that they don't really have time for extracurricular badminton. Or do you think they love it? Do you think they fall out of love with it at all?
No. Yeah, I think at a certain age, they can still do it. Obviously, Kira's at a level that way beyond coming to play games with us. But some of the juniors that are still working their way through, some of the guys at the School of Sport, Angus Meldrum, for instance, I think he lives around about the Kilmarnock area. He comes and plays at the club.
That's great.
So Angus is, can't remember what age he is. He must be, I think, 14, 15, maybe something like that. So he comes and plays at the club as well.
But sounds like a great club.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's ideal, as I say, some very strong
Is it
players.
one of the best in Glasgow?
Well, we're sort of more down the Ayrshire, but there's people from Glasgow travel down and play there.
Yeah, it must be. It sounds twice a week. That's good. Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
I'm trying to come to that. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
What kind of shuttles did you use? What shuttles did you use, Jim? Do you remember when you first started? What were they like?
Oh, we'd be the Carlton plastic, fantastic jobs. Moving on to the Yonex Mavis.
When was the last time? When was the last time you had a plastic shuttle?
Oh, no idea. A long time.
I know. I was thinking, I haven't done it, but I'm gonna buy a tube. I'm gonna buy a tube of Mavis 300s, and
then,
do you remember the thing? What the thing about them was? I think the thing about them was that they were, when you got a new one, they lasted forever, right? They would lasted for game. They would last a night. A shuttle would last a night, right? So when you got a new one, it felt special. You know, it felt special. It's not like a feather, which is disposable, and you use one and it's gone in a game. It's gone in a couple of points sometimes, or 1 point even. But a plastic shuttle just has something, you know. And you had one out, and it was a new one. And you think, "Oh wow, I've got a new one." That's what I remember. Oh, a new one! Oh my god!
Yeah, it would hold up for quite a number of hours. But I remember if you caught a smash really well, the back of it would fold and it would just go like a bullet.
Like squash ball.
It would go flat. So the white plastic bit, the kind of feather part of your leg, would fold flat, and you could see the faces on the other side of the court. How were you supposed to get that?
Well, we should do it, right? Buy a tube of them, and take them to the club and try one game.
A night, or even a night of
a single tube of Mavis 300, 6 tube, isn't it? There's only 6 in a tube of Mavis 300s, and just for it doesn't need to be the night. Most people would say, in my club, would say, I'm not playing with that, but you could get away with a game with a like-minded group of 4. You could do it.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah,
and video it so I can see it. That'll be hilarious. They're so fast. Do you remember? What I remember is they got really fast.
Yeah. They would go really fast, and then something must happen towards the end of the flight, and then they would just drop.
That's right.
That's what I recall.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad experience. I mean, we all learned to play badminton with plastic shuttles. It wasn't all bad, you know.
Pretty good training shuttle, I think.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to do it just for curiosity, because I haven't played with one. I keep on. They sell them in Sainsbury's now, yellow ones. I know you've seen them. Carlton yellow ones. They sell in Sainsbury's now.
Oh, right, okay.
It must be for like garden or whatever else. But that's too rubbish. But Mavis 300s would be okay. I could do that. I would. I'm gonna try that and take it to my little club.
It was like,
good fun. So, who was your first coach?
So that was Willie Stewart.
Yeah. And what? So what age were you then?
Probably about 16.
So you played for a couple of years. And
youth club.
Over that time, when you started, do you know anybody now that still plays from that club?
No, I don't think so. No. Not when I first started. All of the people that were there at that point in time, don't think any of them play now.
No. Was there anybody that you thought was really good when you were playing at that age that you wanted to beat?
There was a guy at the club, and I can't remember his name. And he was like the number one guy, and I beat him after about. It took me about a year.
Was it really?
Yeah, and he was a kind of local village sort of hard guy.
Was he? Was he?
Yeah. Oh no. You're 15, you're thinking,
I'm gonna get done. I'm gonna get done over here.
Exactly. Yeah.
You need to try and find him. I wonder if he's still. He might start playing. He could be one of them.
No. Yeah. I think I've had a couple of sort of these things that come up on Facebook as a suggestion.
Yes.
and I've had a look. I can't remember what's his name now, but
Try and find him.
maybe it's not his name.
Somebody will know what is. Somebody will know who he is. Yeah, I think it's that's a funny little exercise to see if he's, because he could be one of them that people say he could be that guy. He'll probably be that guy that goes to a club. How many people do you get at the club that contact you? Do they contact you to come to the club? If a new member came, who would they come to come to your club? They'd come to you, would they? So they would come to you and, okay, I run a couple of clubs in town. How many times have you had messages from people saying I used to be really good? I used to play for my school. I used to be X, Y, or Z. I get that all the time. And then you see them like, no, you didn't.
To be honest, we haven't had a lot of it, but there's been a couple of occasions. And the one time when we were based down in Ayr, and it was a guy and his wife, and they came to the club, and you could just see them. They came on court, and we started playing a game with them, and they were just standing there watching the game going past them. They were like, So at the end of the night, we said, like, this is, we could suggest maybe if you went to this.
Yeah, that's good. Club, that's what we do. Yeah.
So, and that's how we dealt with it.
We're quite lucky in Edinburgh because we've got Edinburgh Badminton Academy in Edinburgh, which is a school, effectively. You can pay for a group of sessions. Greg runs it, and he's really good. And he runs quite a lot of tournaments in Edinburgh as well. And so he's really good. So if you get that, people coming to the club saying, know you love it, you're enthusiastic, but maybe you should go and get a few sessions with Greg and learn some of the things and practice a bit more, because it is a difficult one, isn't it? You've kind of you're running a club, and I mean, I don't know what your numbers are like. We would have, maybe certain not enough numbers coming, and you think, God, we should let them come because we don't have enough or whatever. But then your members get unhappy because the standard drops. They only come because it's good. Yeah, that's that.
And that's one of the things about our club, that where possible, we've tried to keep it to a good level, so that the games are always good for everybody that attends and the people that attend the club.
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with somebody wanting to come?
Just the same way, yeah. I mean, we explain to them the level that we play at, the type of people that come to the club, the level that they are at. If we don't know them, we'll certainly invite them to come.
Yeah.
But we'll make it plain to them, what the expectations are.
It's a trial, if you like.
So as I say, there's been a few occasions where people have came along. Some of them have came along, and they're
what astonishes me, right, is that people come to the club, right, and they have an absolute holocaust, right? It's an absolute nightmare. They get thumped everywhere. They're getting thrown around the court like a rag doll, and it's just absolutely horrendous. And you think to themselves, there's no way they enjoyed that. At the end of the night, I think quite naturally you'll think, no, that was awful. I can't go back to that club. It was too much. It was terrible. But they come back. Mm-hmm. They come back. That's what astonishes me. They'll come back week after week, and you think, you've actually got to spell it out and say, listen, I'm sorry to say, but they'll come back. That's what gets me.
It's not for you, yeah. Well, when they started sort of progressing, and I was getting a bit better, so I stayed at Drumgoon Badminton Club for a lot of years, playing in the kind of local league, and then within a short space of time, and I think it probably involved me going to Inverclyde, the
school, the camp?
It was like I think it was a 5-day thing, which was really, really tough, and you get a better indication of this is an idea of what it really takes to improve your level. And there was really good clubs in Prestwick and Ayr at that point in time. First one I went to was Prestwick, and they were running 3 courts, and the way it was set up was the court at the bottom was the weakest standard.
Yeah, that's right.
And then the court at the top was top standard, so you had to work your way up. And I was, I didn't mind getting absolutely thrashed, because I just saw it as a progression.
That's what I'm like.
I was like trying to learn. And if you're younger, I can see that fitting okay. But if you've been playing badminton for a lot of years, and you go to a place and you get absolutely hammered, and you're thinking, well, the chances of you improving to get to that standard after all these years is highly unlikely. So it's trying to get a balance of maybe a junior or a younger person coming through, and you're trying to help them and progress them, but somebody that's been playing for a lot of years, and you just think
I lost.
you're at
Jim, you just described me. you just described me. You described me. I'm the organizer of the club, and I always think the thing with me, right, is that I don't mind losing. I genuinely don't mind. I will enter myself in the best tournaments that you can get. You know, the Silvers in Edinburgh, which is mostly the Western university teams, kind of normally enter those tournaments, and you know that kind of just shy of national standard, I suppose, would play. Even some nationals, I probably would go in those tournaments. And you know, I'm not bothered. Honestly, I will play against the best. I will play singles against the best person I could find. I would play singles against anybody. There's nothing that, you know, I try and get people to enter tournaments with me in doubles and mixed and say, come on, let's give it a bash. Let's go in it. It's on next weekend. Let's do it next Saturday. And everybody is, frankly, shite bags. They're all, you know, I'm quite happy to spend a Saturday to get absolutely thrashed by, you know, people that are too good. And just to watch, to be honest, I'll go and watch. I'm quite happy with that, you know. So
Yeah.
So good. Do you remember your first tournament and trophy?
Well, first tournament must have been, I think it must have been like the kind of under 16, the kind of last year of Ayrshire schools badminton. And no, well, I'm 62, so I've been playing for a long time.
But under 16, you'd only been playing for 2 years, is the point.
Yeah. So it was a shock to the system. To go and watch people playing and the level that they were at, sort of thing. But yeah, get hammered, absolutely hammered. But yeah, if anything, it gave me a feel for the kind of standard that I need to try and get to, you know. And it took a number of years. I think my first decent win would have been we played in. So we played. There was Ayrshire leagues, and I think we were like, when we first joined, we were like in Division 6. That's how many people played in Ayrshire back then. And then after a few years, we started playing in the Carrick League, which is like Girvan, little places called Strayton, Mellington. There was a whole load of little kind of towns, all had badminton teams playing out at relatively small halls, and they ran a tournament. So I think it was a close, I can't remember, it was either the Carrick League tournament that I won, either the singles or doubles, possibly the doubles or the Ayrshire. But the Ayrshire used to be similar to like the Dunfermline Open or the East. Really? And then it kind of lost its status. So it was more a kind of restricted tournament. But I remember initially playing in it and everybody played. I always remember names like Jim Ansari and Alec White when he was playing at kind of international level. Really? So all of these guys played in it. But then as it lost its kind of status so much, it was more the kind of local players.
Yes. Yeah.
Played in it then. And I always remember, I've got a story I always remember playing one particular year, and I got to all 3 finals. So final of the singles, final of the doubles, final of the mixed. I only won the men's doubles. There was a guy, Graham Rankin, who was a junior Scottish internationalist, beat me in the final of the singles. Mark Caldwell, again, ex-Scottish junior internationalist, beat me in the final of the mixed. And at the end of it, so I played, basically we started at 9 o'clock and finished about 9 o'clock. Hard break. Can you imagine the number of games I played? Went to a Chinese restaurant in Kilmarnock, started having some soup, then started taking cramps.
I used to get cramps. I remember cramps.
My whole body cramped, Martin. I ended up in the hospital.
No way. Really?
Yeah, my fingers cramped up. I was like some weird mummy or something.
Remember that being in
So I
tournaments
ended
and
up,
getting cramps? I can't remember the last time that happened. When you're playing in a tournament and you're getting through, you had played game after game after game, and you get through to a semi-final or a final, and you start getting cramp. You literally have to stop the game because you had a cramp come on. God, I haven't done that for years.
yeah, I know. I had it in my chest and everything. My mate, the coach I was telling you, Willie Stewart, his son Robert played doubles with him, and he came. I ran to the toilet when the cramp first took, and he came into the toilet and he thought I was having a heart attack because it was
Folded over, folding in half. It's terrible. Cramps are terrible.
Oh my God.
And you still get them. I've learned. I've got a friend who's a doctor, a player in Edinburgh, and the secret to cramps are tonic water.
That's right.
Tonic water, and it works as well.
Yeah, it was more about the sheer volume of games I played and take of what I should have been taking.
I still do a lot of exercise, but don't get cramps any longer. So God, we've been on for 50 minutes, 51 minutes. What was the most successful event? What was your favourite event? Did you like singles the best, do you think?
I loved singles when I was fit enough to do it, and I've done both my Achilles.
Have you?
Yeah, so that kind of sort of. I mean, I stopped playing singles by then, but it just kind of made sure that I wasn't going to make singles a continuation as I got a bit older.
Did you hear the interview with Barry Kinnaird?
No.
He hadn't played for years. Hadn't played for like 20 years, but I think 4 or 5 years ago, somebody said he was a national player, and he was going down. I think he was going down to see a client or a colleague or something like that to Birmingham, and he says, "Oh, you were good at badminton. You were really good at badminton, weren't you?" He said, "Well, he used to be quite handy, yeah." He said, "Bring your racket and we'll have a game." And he went on for a game. He snapped both his Achilles on one jump. So he tried to jump smash 5 years ago. Hadn't played for 20 years. He jump smashed and landed and broke both of his Achilles in a one on a badminton court. And he hasn't played badminton since that. It's 5 years ago that happened. He used to be an exceptional player. And So now he's terrified. He's absolutely terrified. But he went to the hospital. He couldn't stand up. His mate stood him up and said, "Oh, come on, I'll take you home." He says, "To be honest, I think you should probably take him to the hospital." And he let him go, and he fell flat forward. Nothing to hold you with an Achilles, is there? They hold you up, right? Yeah. They hold you up. It was oh no, Achilles isn't. I've never had. Yeah, I have had problems with Achilles. The biggest problem I have at the moment is I've plantar fasciitis. I'm terrible. Yeah. Oh, I'm terrible with that. Yeah. Crystals on the it's agony in your heel. Yeah. It's in your heel. It's really bad. Who do you think?
Doubles, men's doubles is probably the.
Is that? Do you think so?
Problem of me.
Yeah, that's for now for sure. And do you have a favourite partner, Jim?
Say again,
do you have a favourite partner for doubles?
Yeah, currently it's a chap called Jim Dyatt who lives in Kilmarnock, and I've been playing men's doubles with Jim for many years. Yeah, we back in the day there was like a national sort of club championships that sponsored by Yonex, and Jim and I won that. And I always remember there was a £200 prize money. Now this must have 30 years ago. Something like that.
It was like $1,000, yeah.
Yeah, but it's a lot of really good players, and I think the only exclusion was if you'd been an international player within the previous 5 years, that was excluded. So other than that, everybody could play, and there was some good pairs that we beat in that,
And what's the what do you think what do you think it is about your two games that suits each other? Is he very good at the net? Are you a net player? Is he strong at the back? What is it?
Jim's very solid. Right. So he really good defence, keeps things going, really good backhand. I tend to be, when I was probably more younger, but yeah, power is probably my big. I'm pretty good at the net as well, to be honest. Yeah. I'm I like to hunt the net quite a bit. It's
quite important, isn't it, to get chemistry, isn't it? Once you've had
quite a good balance, because we've got different games, but we complement each other. And I always remember there was one year we were playing in the National Masters tournament, and Dan Travers was at the back of the court. And funnily enough, the person you were talking about earlier, Colin Campbell and Colin Ross, who were playing them, it might have been the final, I can't remember. And I think it was the very first rally. And they were on the attack, and they attacked, and Jim and I were all over the place, defend. Eventually turned it and managed to win the rally. And Dan was sitting at the back of the court and I went, so much for my idea about attack's the only way to win men's doubles,
Yeah, let somebody else make the mistakes, that's what I say. It's true. I think chemistry is really important. I've interviewed Josh McGee, and he's got a new men's doubles partner, and he's an exceptional player. He was a singles player, Irish singles player. And Paul Reynolds it's a relatively new partner, so he's just come off singles and gone into doubles. And it's so difficult, to start playing with somebody. You need chemistry, and they just got beat by the Grimleys, right? The two Grimley boys. And I think Elaine Doyle made a comment about it and says, "Oh, they play exceptionally well." And I said, "Well," and Elaine Doyle obviously she's from a family, the McGee's family. The McGee's themselves, Sam and Chloe are family. And the point I made was it's hard to beat chemistry. Once you've, those two, they are connected. The Grimleys are connected. They are the same person. They know where each one's going to be. There's not a question. Have he got it? Have I got it? It just does not question, is it? And as they get stronger, they really are becoming exceptional. I think they're doing really, really well. But so the McGee's is the same thing, but there is a commonality, isn't there? I mean, Elaine Fitzgibbon, previously Doyle, and Connor Doyle, and that again, family badminton. It's hard to beat. It's hard to compete with that because and I don't think it's family. I think it's just playing with the same partner over and over and over and over and over again.
People are going well together,
Yeah, well, there's a wee man again. Right, okay. Yeah. So, I think I've answered a lot of these current questions. Clubs you play now. So what was the name of the club you've got now?
Drongen.
Oh, no, the one you play now. Is it still Drongen?
Yeah, it's the same one, yeah.
That everybody comes down to,
yeah.
Isn't it? Oh, I need to come to that, that's for sure. Oh, is it the same hall?
Yeah. No, we've moved halls over the years, but yeah.
Drongen Badminton Club.
So, now in Kilmarnock,
Has it got a Facebook page on it? Follow it?
No.
No? Why not?
No, it's quite a kind of closed.
That's good. Yeah, I like that. That's good. What's your current racket?
It is. I need to look this one up. It's an Apex Blend Pro 2.
Apex? How did you end up with that?
It was one of the guys that used to play at the club who now lives in Thailand for whatever reason. He had somebody that was supplying some Apex. And she says, "Do you want to try that?" And it suited pretty well. So kind of stuck. I mean, to be honest, previous years when I played badminton a lot more, I would probably change my racket every 2 seasons and move on to something else. But I've had those for maybe 4 seasons now.
I think 2 years. I think 2 years is my thing. 2 years is probably mine.
Yeah.
I think even though I haven't played last year, I still feel like getting 2 new rackets. I don't know why. I went through a stage of just selling on eBay and buying on eBay and
seriously considering sort of moving on to something else because I've had them for so long,
Yonex Astrox 88D, amazing racket. They've just rebranded. They've just remade it. I've got an 88D, D for dynamic or S for skill. The S one is 5mm shorter, so it's for net. Apparently, it's for net play. I don't know if that.
All right.
Yeah, it's a 5mm. It's the same racket, but one's 5mm shorter. And the other one I've got, if you like a heavier racket, I've got a 100ZZ, which is still current, and I love it. It's heavier for singles, but it feels like something in my hand. Some of them are so light. I was looking at the Oliver thing. They've got a racket that's so light, it's ridiculous. And Li Ning, they've got some rackets which are nothing of them. I think Victor have one as well, which is now Li Ning are the people. Can't remember what it's called. But it's you hold it in your hand and it could virtually not be there.
Yeah,
I need a bit of weight.
like a weight in the head,
This
I
one
reckon.
particularly head heavy. 100 ZZ. Good, watch out for that. And
Okay.
strings, what kind
Well,
of strings?
usually BGI 65.
Who does your string?
So it's a
Who does
Yonex.
it for you?
Yeah, various people. There was a guy at the club used to do the stringing, but he's left. Recently, oh God, what's the guy's name? It's kind of done through one of the guys that comes to the club. I just hand
It's
him the
not Andrew
rackets and he
Ironside, does
takes
it?
them.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Andrew's good, by the way. Very good. He invested in a really expensive machine. Very,
Right, okay.
very like $5,000 machine 2 years ago, 3 years ago maybe. But so he's really committed to it. And it's holds the tension. You can do different tensions. Amazing, you do different tensions, vertical and horizontal now. How mad is that?
Okay.
You can have 27 one way and 25 another, and that kind of stuff. It's absolutely crazy what you can do with string now. Family, I suppose family life. Now you've got a new baby. How are you going to manage that?
Yeah, well, I kind of work it out not too bad. Yeah, I still managed to play.
That's good.
But used to play in the English counties leagues. The West of Scotland sort of masters team that we have. They still play, but I had to kind of pull out of that just to free up
time.
Just to free up weekends.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard making it all work. It's hard, especially with a young family. That's good. It's nice though, isn't it? Favorite event now? Do you still think it's doubles?
Men's doubles, yeah.
You told me the name of your men's doubles partner. I don't know if you wrote it down. Jim
Jim
Bennett. Yeah, you got that. And so, okay, just second last question. Do you still feel very competitive now when you play badminton? How do you feel compared to when you first started? Do you think you've changed? Have you mellowed? Do you think it's just the same? What do you think of that?
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
Do you get the rage? Do you get the absolute rage when you lose?
Probably if I play well and I realise that guys that if I lose to a pair and they've been better, I probably understand it better now. So maybe not as disappointed or as angry in myself. Whereas before, maybe being sort of less knowledgeable and all the rest of it, it was probably just anger.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I've probably got a better understanding
why you lost.
Yeah, I know what.
Yeah. And you wonder if that works with, it's part of the psyche of, how do you teach that into Sam and Kira about losing and that kind of thing? How do you deal with that from them?
Yeah, I mean, well, Kira now obviously because she's involved in the national scale. They've got sports psychologists, so my words of advice to her probably she maybe listen to an extent, but their professional psychologists probably are more important nowadays.
Yes, that's good though. It's good that they have that facility and the availability.
Yeah. One of the times where I did some coaching for her when she was a junior, and it was a few years after she'd started, and she was playing a girl who was not expected to beat her. And Kira, she'd lost the first set, and she was down, I think it was 11-5 or something in the turn at the second set. And I went on at the break, and she was in floods of tears. And my words of advice, I never spoke tactics. I just said, Kira, there are people dying in the world. It's only a game of badminton. Just go out and enjoy it. And it was like somebody flicked a switch, and she hammered her. She went on and she won the game, quite convinced. Sometimes coaching is not always about, or early to the net because they're slow there, or their base is further back, so play more drop shots. Sometimes it can be a psychological thing,
I like to remind professional players that they used to love it. That's what I like to do. I like to remind professional players that they started and became a professional at badminton not because of money, not because of pressure, not because to win, because they loved it. And I've had that conversation with Hans Vitingas. Just remember, you used to love it. Go back to your club days. Think back to your club days. Think back to why you started. And I think even having conversations with people like you with this helps people. You analyse and stop and think, do you know what? I used to love it. It's Holly Newell. She's fallen out of love with it to an extent, and I was chatting to her, and
Yep.
I think it's a really great thing for your mind to analyze starting again and thinking, God, remember him? And God, I used to love it then. What did I do? I love it, and who was instrumental, and that's a question I would like to ask you. Who do you think is do you think there's any but individual person that you could attribute kind of badminton successes to for yourself? Is there anybody that you could say if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't?
Um, there's probably been probably a few people. I mean, certainly there was people that had his when after I started to improve. So obviously there's Willie Stewart was my first
Yeah,
coach, and not only
and he
in the
made you love
technical
it
things,
as
but
well, I suppose.
yeah, I think so. And I don't know what it was about the sport. It was just something that clicked, and I loved it. And then there was different players at different stages as I was sort of progressing, if you like. There's a guy, Sandy McCulloch, who was a Scottish junior internationalist and the kind of top player locally. So he was a target and eventually beat him. Alex White, and I'm a good friend of Alex and fantastic player. I mean, world class player in his day, but again, when he stopped playing, he was a target, and
Really,
didn't beat him
is
in
that what
singles,
you
but
thought?
doubles.
Is that how you thought you were always
Yeah,
aiming after somebody else?
looking at people and saying, like, yeah. And Mr. Travers, the famous Mr. Dan Travers, that was, and finally, finally getting to get a win over him. And God, it was Scottish Masters International at Largs.
Really?
In the final up there, Jim and I beat him and his partner. And yeah, that was like, okay, I'll just hang my racket up now.
We can go.
That's me. Yeah, Dan gave me many a thrashing back in,
That's
so
how we
yeah.
learn, and that's how we learn, and that's how you get better, isn't it? To try and every time you're in training after that point, you're saying, "I'm never going to beat him like that. I'm never going to beat him like that. I'm never going to beat him like that." And that's how you get better,
Yeah,
don't you think? You have somebody and you
yeah,
think, "Nah, I need to get better in that area." And yeah, I suppose nowadays you
mm,
have so many different analytical tools, and you can watch match after match after match of your opposition nowadays. You're not you imagine being in it now. You go on YouTube and you
yeah,
find somebody and you just spend hours watching their games and saying,
yeah. Analysing the game.
I
Yeah.
mean, I do it now. Okay, great. Look, last question. We've been on for an hour and 7 minutes. Would you believe that? The very last question is, what is it about badminton? And have you ever done any other sports, Jim?
Yeah, played a bit of
Yeah.
football, did some coaching of the football, played a bit of tennis when I did my Achilles.
Yeah.
And with Kira back in the day, she played tennis at quite a high standard. So I used to go and do it. Oh, yeah, she was a top junior, yeah,
Holly was the
before she moved
same.
to badminton.
Holly was a
Yeah.
tennis player, and so was Julie Julie
Person,
McPherson.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, but not so much seriously. I mean, badminton was the only sport that I probably really invested a lot of time in.
Yeah, yeah. So, okay, that's just compared to other sports. Why do you think it is badminton that you like? Can you put it in words?
Oh, difficult to pinpoint. I mean, it's obviously very competitive, and it's a game that anybody can play at whatever standard. You can be, you could be greatest of enemies on court, but the minute you come off court, your mates, and really the amount of people that I've met and became friends with over the years is just fantastic. So many people.
It's the people and the yeah. Yeah, obviously, everybody said that. Everybody, you meet so many friends, and that's the thing about you, Jim, and you and I. I know you were nervous about coming on, but I don't know anybody that loves badminton that I don't like. Not one person.
Yeah,
I've
well,
never met a single person that loves badminton that I don't like because I immediately got someone in common with you. I've never met you before in our life, right? It's amazing.
yeah.
I think it's amazing.
Well, do you know the strange thing is? I always remember when Kira played tennis and you would get into some tournaments, the parents were kind of quite standoffish. They would keep away from each other. Whereas in badminton, when your kids are all playing, coming up through different age levels, you end up becoming friends with all of the parents because everybody's going through the same thing. So it's a real sort of good bunch of people. And, you know, Kira is an example, you know, when you look around the people that she's played with who were still people that she played against with and competitors, but she's still friends with them, you know, and it's the same right across the board.
It's an unusual pursuit
So,
like that for sure, isn't it?
good side,
It's true. I mean, I'm aware of it, even in social media. You know, when I connect with players, it's everybody from all over the world are friends and they're connected to each other. When I connect to international players, you know, they can see they're connected to, you know, 5 or 6 others, and it's people from totally different continents. You know, Germans and Spanish, and you know, just all over the world. You know, if they're a badminton player, they're all. I love that. I just love that about badminton.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Fantastic.
Good. Right, I'll let you get on with your afternoon. The clouds are coming in. It's going to start raining now, so that's good. I'll let you go and put the baby to bed.
Yeah, no worries.
It's lovely to meet you,
okay,
and I can't wait to get a game on a badminton court with you. All right.
Sounds like
nice one. Take care. Thank you. Cheers.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers,
Bye.
Bye.
Take it away. Well, that was really interesting. Thank you very much, Torrance. Quite interesting. I know I didn't get to talk pride and joy very much at all, but I really enjoyed that chat. Great to meet another lover of badminton. Hope you enjoyed that, and please comment and like and subscribe to the channel if you can. Apparently, 80% of people that watch videos aren't subscribed, so if you could, please, that'd be really appreciated. Coming soon, there's going to be some commercial interests with Yonex company and Oliver Sport, making some products and services for people that maybe want to get back to thinking about getting back to court and maybe need new racket, new clothing, new bags, new whatever. So there's going to be a few offers coming within recent videos. I'll be putting things on about that. Discount codes available. You could, if you do need any equipment, if you could consider, that would be help. Yes, try to technology to the channel as a whole. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll speak again soon. I'm on tonight with Master Kid. Take care.